Good morning and welcome to Vegas Realty Check. I'm your host, Tiana Carroll, and my co-host, Trish Williams, is off today, but that is okay because we have a guest that is not only a broker and been in the business a very long time in Las Vegas, but he was always a mentor to me when I started in the business. We have Mike Cruz, who's the broker over at Reside. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you.
All right. So Vegas Realty Check is your local Las Vegas news station. So if you're interested in keeping up what's happening in our local Las Vegas housing market, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you're always up to date. This is the holiday season in Las Vegas. We are now in December 22nd and 2022, and we're going to talk all about what's happening in our market right now. So first, we always start the show with numbers, Mike. So we're going to talk about our single family residents. Now I've excluded Boulder City and Pahrump and things like that. This is just in the Las Vegas Valley, Henderson area. Our single family homes this week are 6,582. What does that number say to you?
You know, actually, I like that number. It's coming down a little bit.
It is.
And we're definitely seeing more buyers out in the marketplace.
Yeah.
So they still have lots of options.
And they want to see them all.
And they want to see them all. Which is great if you're a buyer, and it really is fantastic. But at the same time, for a seller, it's not bad either, because that means homes are selling by that number coming down.
Right, and the numbers for during the correction kind of pumped up a little bit. I think people thought they were going to catch the tail end of the high peak of the roller coaster, and then they came down around the $7,500 range, and now they have drizzled down about 1,000. We've also seen a change in price reductions. When our numbers were about 7,500,
yes.
Our price reductions were about 1,400. Now we only have price reductions this week, 563 of them, and those are very minimal. I think there was a couple on there that had some big price reductions, and some of those were mistakes in the MLS. They put it in at 4,000. It was supposed, $4
right.
million. It was supposed to be 400,000. So obviously that's a big change. But they're usually in the 2 to 4% in reduction. It's not a huge amount. It's not a big dip.
Right, and where I've seen a really good improvement is the number of homes going back on the market, and even the ones that are going back on the market, they're not doing the massive price reductions that they were for a while.
Right. I think people are coming onto the market in a very fair market value.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I love about this market. It's very serious. People
Yes.
really wanting to make sales, really wanting to close deals.
The sellers are really understanding where they need to be, and they want to get the home sold, and they want to be competitive.
Yeah.
Not like last year at this time, the market was starting to go crazy a little bit, and the sellers were getting greedy. And I know in the past downturns, the sellers really didn't understand where the market was. But this time around, they really do.
Yeah, I think that there's been good coverage, and there's been so many scare tactics with the crash.
Right.
And I have both sellers and buyers who are concerned about it. Sellers don't want to sell for less than what they think their home is worth. And then I have so many people in the buy world are like, I'm going to wait till it crashes. I'm going to wait till it crashes. Do you feel like we're at the bottom of the pendulum swing on how low it's going to go?
My crystal ball is broken.
Oh.
However, I see us really being a good, steady, even-keeled market right now. And I really don't see a massive change probably until we get to late spring, where I think it's really going to start to go up.
Yeah. Okay. So my crystal ball is just taking in facts and mushing it all together for me. And it's letting me know there are, as far as the market goes nationally, there's doomsday happening, because there are some markets that are definitely having much harder times than we are. Right. And we've already started to, I don't want to say snap back, but level out is what I'm seeing.
Definitely.
So I just wanted to make that, like, I would not want to be in Texas right now.
No.
Texas would be bad. Boise, Idaho would be less than ideal for me.
Right.
Some Florida markets. Eek.
Yeah. There's a couple Florida markets that are still doing great though too.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I
So,
said some Florida
yeah.
markets, some Florida markets. But I think in Vegas, we have seen some corrections, and we do have a good flow of buyers. So there's activity happening. Not a lot. We only did 546 closed deals this week.
Right.
So that's going to put us around, if it continues on through the last a couple weeks, that's going to put us about 2,000 closings, which is going to be up from November, which was
Right.
about 1,500.
And when we look at it for December as a whole, it's not a horrible number either.
No, it's not a horrible number.
yeah,
December's
just-
a little bit slower.
Right.
Because of the holidays and travel and stuff like that. So I think all in all, the numbers are just showing that it's evened out. But in this last, say, 10 days, I have seen more business happening on the buy side, more buyers coming onto the markets.
Most
Meaning
definitely.
more showers for those listings. Is that what
Right.
you're seeing?
Yeah, I have several listings currently, and we are consistently getting showings on all of them.
Okay, and how
So
are those?
that's a big difference than what I was seeing even a month ago or 2 months ago, definitely.
Right, right. And of those showings, are you starting to see some offers come in, or are you seeing like what I'm seeing, where my buyers are like, well, we saw it once, let's see everything else, and then we'll come back to
A
it?
little bit of it too is we have a split market to where homes, single-family homes especially, that are priced under 400,000, there's definitely more action, and there are some lowball offers out there.
Yeah,
But overall, buyers are definitely looking at everything available, and they're being very, I don't want to say picky.
let's say
but
discerning.
Yes, as to which home they decide to go with.
Okay, so I'm gonna agree with that, because I've had buyers and I've taken them out and we've made offers, and before an offer is even accepted, they're like, let's go see the house again.
Right.
And I'm like, let's just see if they accept our offer, because let's not waste our time and energy if they're not even going to accept what we've put out there.
Right.
So, and then can I ask you about your investors? Because I have investors hounding me constantly. I need a deal. I don't have anything right now. I need a deal. I need a deal. Well, in the rise of the roller coaster madness that was happening, they were taking anything, even at market value.
Right.
But now they just want to come in and lowball.
Investors, they're offering at least 15% under market.
Yep. And that's what I'm seeing
Yeah.
too. And they're hounding me. Get me
Right,
something,
well-
get me something, get me something.
And you point that out, they're hounding you. Well, they're hounding you because they're not getting any offers accepted because they're coming in too low.
Right.
So the market's not in a free fall by any means.
No.
So they're not going to get those offers accepted. I think once they realize it, and they're going to have to be a little more realistic with their offers, they can get a property.
Yeah. And what about your pipeline? I swear I have a third of my pipeline who are buyers who are going, I need the market to crash. I want it to crash so I can purchase. I also saw that in March of 2020 when the pandemic
Yes.
hit. Everybody thought that the market was going to crash, housing was going to be destroyed, they were going to pick up $100,000 single family residents, and they waited, and all our market did was increase and increase
Right.
and increase, and we got to the point where it wasn't affordable for them to even come into the market anymore.
Right. And some of my pipeline, as you put it, is they're on that the other side of the fence still. But then I have quite a few others. They're ready to get in and eager to buy once we hit January.
Yeah, I've had, everybody likes to come to Vegas for the holidays, right?
Right.
And especially right before the holidays, they're going to go spend most of the time with the family, but
Yeah.
let's hit Vegas for a weekend.
Right.
And so the past couple weekends have been just madness of showings, people coming in town, and they want to see what's available and get a feel for the city and what have you. And they've been putting out offers, and some of them have been accepted. Some of them have been ridiculous. Some of my buyers even sit them down and say, listen, I don't think this is a realistic offer. I don't even think they're going to acknowledge us.
Right.
Why are we pretending?
Right.
But they still do it, and I'm their fiduciary,
well,
so I have to
exactly.
advise them and then write their offer.
And we as agents, we can only do the best we can do to help them understand the market.
Yeah. So, but I think a couple of them had an eye-opening experience, and they're like, listen, we're going to come back the second week in January, and we're going to be better at our offer making. And I'm like,
Right.
good. Let's be serious if we're going to do this, because it really is a good time to buy.
It is.
People
It is.
are concerned about the interest rate, but we've seen that before.
Right. And what's been really popular that I've been seeing, and I've been working with my buyers on, as well as on the seller side also, is buyers wanting to do the 2-1 buy down, to where they buy down the interest rate for 2 years, then it's fixed. So it does give them an opportunity that if the interest rates do come down later next year, as a lot of economists are forecasting,
Yep.
they can go ahead and refinance at that time. But they are getting in now when the prices are a little bit lower, and they can, and they're even getting that contribution for that 2-1 buy down from the seller.
Right. Right. We're seeing a lot of that. I mean, I
Yeah.
think most contracts right now have some sort of buy down or something
Seller
happening.
concession.
Oh, well, every contract has
Yeah,
a seller
you're right.
concession, but how they're using that, I
Right.
think the 2-1 buy down is popular because I think everybody was in shock when we had the interest rates at 3% and then they were at 7%. They have come down a bit, but
Right.
it's still shocking. And I laugh at it because we've seen these interest rates before. 7,
Yeah.
8, and 9. We had 7, 8% interest rates. People are acting shocked, but the prices of home are obviously a little more expensive
And
now.
there are some naysayers out there that say, oh my gosh, the 2-1 buy down is going to cause a collapse in the future of the market. Well, not really, because the buyer does have to qualify and get approved at that higher interest rate.
Right, right.
So nobody's buying a house that they truly can't afford. It's just a bonus to get it at a much better rate and a lower payment.
Yeah, and the 2-1 buy down works even for the most conservative of the economists who are saying they're not going to see a big change in 23. They're going to have to wait till the election
24,
year
right.
when they see that change. But that 2-1 buy down still fits in that pretty little box.
Right. And what I learned a couple weeks ago is if they do go to do that refinance and there's still money left from that savings, they can actually take that money and apply it towards the refinance.
Oh,
So there's no
happy
lost
day.
money. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that is kind of cool. All right, I like that. So our crystal ball says Vegas is not falling apart the way some of these other
Right.
markets are, because like even in our valley, we have a lot of new construction, and they are offering concessions, and they have standing stock, which doesn't always happen. So you can get into a new build much quicker than the 6 to 8 months it takes to typically build a home.
Right.
So that's interesting.
I know we have one particular builder here in town, when we talk about interest rates,
Yeah.
they were offering a buy down to, I think, 3.99% if you were able to close on a home in the next 60 days.
Right, come in quick. We just
Yeah.
want to make up our money. So I wouldn't say that our new builds are happy with the market that they're in, but our new build is stronger than other markets.
It is.
Because, and especially like in Texas. I'm sorry, I keep picking on you, Texas. But you guys had a wild roller coaster, and you seem to be feeling it much more than we are.
Fastest to go up is the quickest
fast
to come down.
Yep, that's definitely true. Because like all over the news, you're going to see like Lennar is liquidating, Lennar is liquidating, Lennar is liquidating. Well, here in the Valley, they're not liquidating in that same
Right.
capacity that they are nationally. Here, they are offering concessions and standing stock and very normal things that are happening in
Right.
our market. But in other markets, they are trying to offload as much property as they can to corporate buyers.
Well, and I think we hear more about Lennar because they are the largest builder across the country.
Yeah. Yep.
So-
And they were trying to sell off all of their properties to big management companies and rental companies.
Right.
And then the rental companies are like, no, we're not buying at this stage. So then they're like 400, what is it, in Austin, it was like a $450,000 home. They slashed $150,000 off of it.
Right.
I don't think we're going to see anything like that in
No.
this valley.
No.
But that's what was happening there,
Right.
and they were freaking out. So poor Lennar.
Yeah, I think what I've been seeing is maybe $20,000 off the price, but then some back-end incentives towards your financing, and depending on where the home is in construction, maybe some upgrades.
Yeah, yeah. And like I said, there are opportunities for
Yeah.
everybody who's a buyer right now, whether you are looking in new construction and you're wanting to take a standing stock and get those concessions from the builder. If you're doing resale, sellers are now aware that concessions are necessary, and every offer they're getting, they're seeing those concessions, so it's not so shocking to them anymore. So what else are you seeing in the market that is interesting that we should know about? I mean, you're a broker, you see
yeah.
it all.
The buyers had a situation this week where a buyer client they were aware of something going on with the condominium complex as far as an assessment, and I'm not sure exactly what it was for. It wasn't my personal deal, but it was one of my agents.
Right.
And I don't know if it was for a new roof or what the situation was, but the seller was very upfront about it. And after negotiating repairs and everything, they decided they wanted a credit for that new assessment.
Oh.
And just buyers are definitely really pushing the boundaries.
Yeah. I like to refer to them as greedy.
Yeah.
It's
And that's
sort of,
exactly
it's sort
what
of
it
how
is.
our sellers were at the top of our market, where they just wanted everything.
Right.
They didn't care. We'll
Right.
sell it as is. We want $50,000 over. We want no appraisal contingencies. You do what you
Yes.
got to do. And right now, I think the sellers are like, ha ha ha, the ball is in our
Yeah.
court. We can do whatever we want. And the conversations that I have to have with them is, you may want that, but that doesn't mean it's going to happen.
Right.
You're putting this sort of false idea that the market is crashing all around us, and it might be in other parts of the country, but here it's really not.
Right.
We've stabilized. Well, we've corrected, we've stabilized, and because we're seeing an uptick in business, my crystal ball is letting me know, like, hey, our spring's going to be healthy.
Yeah, right, definitely. And going back when our market was going chaos crazy earlier this year, the big thing every seller needed was a rent back.
Yes.
And what I've noticed to show we're still in a stable market is, the buyers are asking for the world in their offer, but then they're offering a free rent back.
Yeah.
I've gotten a couple of those offers, and it's like,
Okay, so real quick, just if you don't know what a rent back is, usually in our valley, it's really typical to take possession of the property at the close of escrow. Once that property is recorded with the county, you get your keys that day. That's the way it works out. And the rent back, people were selling their homes, and then they were staying in their homes for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, rent free, or at a price. Most of the time we were offering rent free, like just stay in
Right.
your house as long as you need to get out of there, and then we'll take it over as a new buyer. But rent backs are tricky.
they definitely are.
I only had one rent back that went south, knock on wood.
I was gonna say knock on wood.
Knock
I've
on wood.
been
That
good
went
with them.
south during the madness and chaos that was our spring market this year.
Yeah.
Soon to be last year, in a few days, 8 days, 10
Right.
days, I don't know. But it was, for the most part, rent backs worked. And I had been taught for years and years and years,
Don't
don't
do
do a
them.
rent back. Don't do a rent back. It's the worst. Because
Right.
it does open up liability. But with all of our contracts, we had the seller still carry their homeowner's insurance, so the home was protected, both the seller and the new buyer.
Right.
So
And in, I'd say nearly every case, the seller's very appreciative for it.
very appreciative. It definitely worked out,
Yeah.
and was one of the contributing factors to get those offers
Right.
accepted.
Yeah.
And that's what we needed. We needed any edge to get an offer
Mm-hmm.
accepted, because they were just flying off the shelves and there was no stock, and
Right.
the feeding frenzy was happening like piranhas in the water, like, I need a house, and
Right.
they're shredding these poor buyers.
Yeah. No, I
And
just found it a little interesting that they're still offering that part for the seller,
Yeah.
but
We're like-
without even saying we need it.
Right, right. Because like as agents, we always talk to each other prior to
Right.
writing a offer
Yeah.
and say, hey, listen, this is what we're planning to do.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think that's going to sit with your seller? Is there anything that your seller is going to need to make that deal?
Well,
that,
right.
And at the time, people were saying, my seller wants a rent back. My seller wants a rent back.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that we're not having list agents tell us as
Right.
buyers agents, that, oh, my client needs this. They're just saying highest and best, highest and best.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was crazy. I haven't personally wrote a rent back since, I think, June or July.
Okay.
So I didn't even know those were coming in on your listings. What are your other offers looking like?
You know, God, yeah.
You're all, yeah.
They're all over the place.
Yeah.
I can tell you I have not seen a list price offer in quite some time.
Okay, so I make list
So-
price offers right
Yeah.
now because I'm asking for concessions, and it depends upon my buyer, right? If
Mm-hmm.
my buyer isn't cash, they don't have a lot of liquid cash,
Right.
then they need those closing costs, right? And I'm like, just offer the list price. We'll take care of it in the mortgage
Mm-hmm.
in a year and a half or whatever. You can finance down, keep your credit up, make those payments. All will be good.
Right.
So I just need them to keep their credit up and make those payments so they
Yeah.
can refinance. But yeah. They're crazy right now on wanting everything.
Yeah, they are.
But I've been
But-
doing list price. So if I
Okay.
send you a list price offer,
I appreciate it.
get your seller
Okay.
to go ahead and
Definitely.
accept it. Yeah, so you're not seeing any list.
I haven't. I've had a couple that have been close, but they're asking for quite a bit in concessions. So
Well, yeah, no, I'm asking for the world in concessions.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
sometimes it's not even realistic. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is a bad idea, but I'm going to do it anyway. Story of my life.
and we work for our clients, and we have to do what they want.
Right. Well, that's exactly it. Right now, like I said, the buyers are in their greedy phase, so it's
Yes.
been a bit of a switch, but all in all, there's always seems to be one greedy player in the real estate game, whether it's a buyer or a seller.
Yes.
And right now, it's the buyers, and they're asking for the world,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm advise them like, hey, so I try to be as diplomatic as possible and say, let's get to as close to list price as possible if we're going to ask for a ton of concessions.
Right.
And then if we're not asking for that many concessions, then yeah, let's negotiate down that price. So, and it's really, whatever they need at that time.
Right.
All right, so that's interesting. And then your crystal ball is broken, which is such a shame because we're so close to the end of the year. And I know that everybody is like, I want to buy when the market crashes, and what do you think is going to happen? I know what I'm telling my clients, but if
Right.
you were going to advise, let's say future January, February buyers and sellers, how would you handle those conversations?
For buyers, absolutely now is the time to buy.
Ding, ding, ding. I'm with you on that.
I really think we're hitting the bottom of the market.
Mm-hmm.
I think by the middle, towards the end of spring, we're really going to start going back up again. And yeah, you might be getting a little bit higher interest rate now, but ask for that 2-1 buy down. And then if rates do lower, you can refinance.
Yeah.
And take advantage so you're getting the best of both worlds at that point, if as long as the rates do come back down, which we can't promise, but yeah, all the economists out there seem to think it's going to happen.
Yeah, yeah, and
just a
that's
matter
the
of
thing. We're keeping ourselves educated so we can then transition that education to our clients and let them know, like, hey, this is the projection. This is what people are saying. This is what the numbers are showing. How do you want to handle this?
Right.
So that seems to work out well. And then Trish and I talk about it on the show that in Vegas, our market really does start, our spring market really does start end of January to mid-February.
Oh, yeah. I've had a saying for years. It's something happens on January 15th. The flowers bloom. I don't know what it is, but the buyers come out in a flood.
Yeah, yeah, which is really, really interesting because Trish and I, we always have a joke that 4th of July weekend, the market just stops for the week.
Right.
It's over, like, unless you're already in contract,
Yeah.
there's nothing going on. And then you start to see it move into our fall market, which we're still in summer at that time, midsummer.
Right.
But we get it early, and we start to see those changes earlier than most markets. So when we say spring, we're saying January
Well,
15th to February 15th.
And something unique for our market is what the rest of the country is experiencing right now with the bad weather. Our bad weather is the end of June, early July, when it's 120 degrees.
Right.
Nobody wants to go out. So the market does. It stops for 2
Right.
weeks.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of the rest of the country right now, we're
Yeah.
at December of 22, right? And here, short sleeve silk dress. I didn't
For
even wear a
anybody
jacket
watching
today.
that's thinking about moving to Vegas, this is the spot. We're supposed to be 65 degrees on Christmas.
Yeah, well, even today, it was as long as so in the evening when the sun goes down, it's chilly, and then I put a
Right.
jacket on. But when I wake up in the morning and I get dressed and I leave my house, I sometimes forget a jacket here in December because it is so beautiful. And when you're in the sun, it is so warm and delicious. I love it. Yeah, no, I love the weather, and that's another thing. Trish and I had done a buying during the holiday season show, and one of the things that we didn't even talk about because it's not prevalent to our market is weather. If you're in other markets, can you imagine with all of the snow that is happening around the country right now, selling a house? That's crazy. We don't have that here. Thank you.
No.
And I know people, you brought it up. You're like the end of June. It's just too hot.
Right.
I don't have that feeling. I think that.
Do you?
Well, I mean, how much time do people really spend outside in the
Well,
midsummer?
right. We don't. Our air conditioning works amazing everywhere you go here.
Right. This is in Europe. We've got air conditioning
Right.
everywhere, from your car to every restaurant to whatever. Now, I stay outside. I love it outside. The heat doesn't bother me at all. I hike the mountain at 115 degrees, and I'm just like totally
crazy.
fine. You're not the first man to tell me that, so you're good. But I do like the heat. And I think if you stay acclimated, then it's easier to tolerate
Definitely,
the heat. Now, my mom, she hates the heat.
Yeah.
And so she's an air conditioning baby, and just walking to the car from the house, she's like, oh, it's so hot. I can't do this. I'm like, you were outside for 2 seconds.
Right.
Like, give me a break. Yeah, no, being acclimated is good. But those are some, I guess, Southwest, that Sun Belt things that we don't have to worry about.
Right.
Snow, I can't imagine shoveling snow.
Right.
Especially not when it's up to my shoulders. And
That's-
I'm a tall girl.
That's the best thing here is we don't shovel our bad weather.
Yeah, we don't shovel our bad weather. We don't have bugs like Florida,
No.
Texas. They have the mosquitoes and
Right.
stuff. I don't do bugs well, so we're not messing with that. I mean, I'm not afraid
Yeah.
of them or anything. I just don't need them. So there's a lot of great things to buy in Vegas. But
Yeah.
everybody who lives here knows that already.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we have this great market. We have great sunshine, even in December. It is beautiful. We're in short sleeves and silk, which is, well, you're not in short sleeves. You're in long
Not
sleeves.
today.
Yeah, but
I
no jacket.
contemplated it though.
Yeah, because you could. If you wanted to,
Right.
you absolutely could. So that's good. All right, before we wrap up this show and we get our contact information out, I just want to make sure that there's nothing else that you want to talk about before we go.
Only other thing is we're seeing a little bit of consolidation and movement within brokerages that we touched on.
Okay, so that is happening, and there's a lot of, so I grew up in Vegas. I just want to say Corcoran is not Corcoran. So in February of 20, then there was a bunch of very elite brokerages combining under the Corcoran umbrella
Right.
to go ahead and make these very exclusive, very elite brokerages, mostly in California. We had some in Sierra Nevada. Not much really happened here in Vegas. There was a couple.
They have a couple
brokerage-
offices.
Yeah, a couple brokerages that joined, and the whole point was to be very exclusive.
Right.
The creme de la creme of brokerages. This was going to be
And-
the luxury. And they made a ton of money
Right.
during the California exodus all through 2021. And then by end of 22, they were starting to say that they were going to shop their brokerages and start selling them off, which was
Right.
crazy.
It doesn't make sense to me, but everybody has a business plan, I guess.
Well, that's exactly it. Like right now, I've got people swearing that Open Door, once they finally file a bankruptcy and they have to liquidate, that all of that's going to be a flood of inventory. I'd love to see a flood of inventory.
I don't see Open
but-
Door filing bankruptcy. I
Okay.
just don't.
Okay, so I've heard both sides of the story.
Yeah.
I think that bankruptcy is a business tool used to help them recover, get out of, or be less.
Right. I mean, there's no doubt they're taking a loss on a lot of their listings now, but they've corrected what they're doing, and now they're not paying over market value like they were for this first 6 months of this year.
Yeah.
Now they're like a normal investor where they're paying 20 to 30% under, or offering 20 to 30% under
Yeah.
what the actual market value is. So I think it's going to be short term, and they had a lot of cash behind them in the first place.
They had a ton of cash behind them. They were up over $8 billion at
Right.
one time. Now they're Poor them, $1 billion.
Yeah.
Aw. But $1 billion
That's
is
still
so
a lot of
substantial.
money.
I had an agent going, oh, they're going to owe over $5 million in January in just property taxes in the Valley. I'm like, $5 million is nothing when you have $1 billion.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I don't have $1 billion, but
when you
I want $1
factor it
billion.
nationwide, I guess it could be a lot.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's why they're willing to really negotiate on their properties. If you see an open door listing out there,
Snag
by
it.
all means, try and get it because they're willing to negotiate.
Yeah, yeah. They are a very serious seller right
Yes.
now, which is crazy because there was a time when those iBuyers wouldn't even respond to offers.
Right.
And
right.
they'd be like, we don't know you. This is
Yeah.
not good enough. But now they're like, okay, we're willing to play ball. Let's
Yeah.
work a little bit.
A couple months ago, I had a transaction with them, and I have to say they were amazing to deal with
Yeah.
in terms of their responsiveness, professionalism.
Yeah.
I was actually very impressed.
Okay, good. Because I've had transactions with them on both sides. And
Uh-huh.
one side, I was like, I'm never doing this again. They're the worst. And on the other side, I'm like, oh, okay, they're here, they're helping, they're responsive, they're returning emails and calls. So maybe it's like regular real estate, depends upon the agent on
Right.
the other side.
And they're definitely still buying. I know I got an email earlier this week offering a bonus for me as an agent to refer a client to them,
Nice.
for them to buy the property.
Yeah, well, they're definitely fishing for buyers, that's why.
Yeah.
So, and if they want to sweeten the pot, we'll take it.
Right.
And then going back to consolidations, so my brokerage actually just did that.
I heard about that.
And so we just had a big meeting for Become One yesterday, and I was so excited because we are now going to be the 4th largest KW in the country.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's a lot of exciting things, and I think I want to do some sort of touch with that, but I'm going to wait till Trish is here because it's her brokerage and my brokerage that are combining. So I just want to wait till she's here for that. But the brokerages are consolidating, and mortgage companies are dismantling.
Yes. Yeah. No, there have been a few mortgage companies that have actually gone out of business.
Yep.
Or stopped completely doing residential.
And have slashed staff.
Yes. Yeah. I actually have a friend that worked for a large mortgage servicing company here in Las Vegas, and her position was eliminated as she worked in the escrow department where they worked a lot with refinances.
Yeah.
And that market's just completely gone away.
Dry it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody wants to refinance at 7%.
No, you're right,
Well,
they
I
don't.
have this 4%, but maybe I'll like to pay
Yeah.
more. No, that doesn't happen. Yeah, so there's been definite changes on not only the real estate market, brokerages, but all of the vendors that service us as well,
Mm-hmm.
because we've had title and escrow making cutbacks as well. They're not
They
seeing
have.
the closings and
Right.
things that there were. And I guess it's supply and demand.
Exactly.
Less business, less
So,
employees.
Yeah. So I think a year from now, though, we're going to see them start to expand again.
Yeah, yeah. I think that I listen to a lot of mortgage podcasts and things like that, and they were really acting, especially some of the bigger companies, were being very proactive.
Right.
We want to make sure that we're not going to be buried when this market shifts and changes. And now in our valley, we shifted and changes, and we didn't really see a big cutback in our valley as a whole in those areas. But across the country, some mortgage companies have gone under, eliminated staff, gone down to bare bones to make it through.
Yeah. The beauty of this business is it's changing every single day,
That's what I love about it.
and it makes it exciting.
Yeah, no, I don't do well with monotony. I kind of
Right.
thrive in chaos. So I like that this is always a roller coaster
Yeah,
ride, an
it's
ebb
just-
and flow. You got to keep your ear to the ground to really know what's
Right.
happening. So
And
it's great.
sometimes we don't know where we are until after we've been there.
Yeah, when you turn around and go, oh yeah, that's where I was
Yeah,
at.
yep.
That's good. I did better than I thought.
Right.
All right, Mike, it was a pleasure having you here. If our listeners out there who are would like to reach out to you, maybe have a conversation and pick your brain about anything, how do they get a hold of you?
Give me a call anytime at 702-286-3434.
All right, excellent. And I'm Tiana, and you can always reach out to me on my cell. I'm 702-379-9948. Give me a call or shoot me a text. Thanks for listening to Vegas Realty Check. If you've liked what you heard and you want to stay on top of what's happening on our market, make sure you like, share, subscribe on our YouTube channel, or download our podcast on any platform where you can receive podcasts. You guys have a happy holiday, and we will talk to you next week. Have a great week. Bye-bye.